السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. Today I've been given only one period, so the faster we settle down, the better it is, because we can take out the subject. Initially, my plan was to complete the book today, but then some of the students need to prepare for the examinations, which is the reason I'll be taking only 1 hour today. It's not 1 hour, that's only like 45 minutes or 40 minutes right now. I doubt we'll be finishing it today, but then we'll try our best. Is your voice audible to everyone? So until the previous class we had stopped at the end of chapter number 4, and there were a few things which I wanted to show to you, on which I was indicating towards in the classes. This right here, which you see, is the biography of Sheikh al-Rahman. He was named when he was born in the Brahmin family as Bam-ke-Ram. Bam-ke-Ram is there over here it's visible. So this story is something I heard from Shaykh Abdus Salam, and then I wrote it because Shaykh Abdus Salam met him and sat with him for a long time. I was not able to meet him, unfortunately. So the gist of this story is that he was trying to kill, his own family tried to kill him. He came to Abdus Salam from the north. He came to the south of India, and then he graduated from Abdus Salam, and then he went on to study in Medina University, Islamic University of Medina, then Qura, and then Azhar, and then he was appointed as the lecturer of Hadith in the Islamic University of Medina. الناس عبيد لما عرفوا وأعداء لما جهلوا. Hamid al-Ghazali says this: الناس عبيد لما عرفوا. وأعداء لما جهلوا. Some people become followers of those whom they know, and they become enemies of the people they don't know. So Ziaur Rahman sat down to write about Muhammad against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and when he finished the biography, he came from the first ones: الناس عبيد لما عرفوا وأعداء لما جهلوا. Anyone who's interested, you can go and look. It's there on the internet, it's available for everyone. This is one. The second about discipline is this one. This was translated by me when Shaykh Abdus Salam asked me to translate, so it's actually in Urdu. This is about Japanese community, the discipline of Japanese community, and it's a really long story, but I want to point out is that it's the discipline that made them one of the most successful communities in the world. The Japanese community is regarded as one of the most successful people in the world, and the reason is their discipline. I was talking about ijaza. So ijaza is like this. So you are given the ijaza like this. So you see the name over here, Khalid is given ijaza from his Sheikh, which is Mahir bin Yasin al-Fahl. It is there. At the bottom you can see over here, it's not visible, or you can see the name of Sheikh Mahir al-Fahl over here, right? It's there over here, you can see it's dark. I think you can see it right now. Exact place where my cursor is. So Mahir bin Yasin al-Fahl gives me the ijaza in Bukhari, and see, he narrates all. See, from whom he got it. He got it from Subhi bin Yasin, and he got it from Abdul Karim, and then he got from Yusuf, and it goes on until Imam al-Bukhari. Where is it? It goes on Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala. There are many, and this is an example of how the ijaza is given. You see over here it is written kamilan, because the one who is getting this ijaza has heard it a complete Bukhari from this Shaykh Mahir bin Yasin al-Fahl. Hearing in the sense, either Shaykh Mahir will read it completely and the student is sitting and he's hearing it completely, or the second one is that there is a student reading in front of Shaykh Mahir, and Shaykh Mahir is following, and if that student makes a mistake, he'll correct him. And those all listening and participating and reciting all will get the ijaza as though they have read it completely in the presence of Sheikh. This is all there in Mustalah al-Hadith. I don't know if you read this over here, Mustalah al-Hadith. Sheikh Asr told me that he's teaching Mustalah al-Hadith in Aspire. That's the reason I presented this to you, so you might get a better example or a better idea. And this one is a story, you can go and read it. I'm going to tell you just one thing. He is known as one of the most prominent. I think someone's waiting over there. Let them enter. And anyone who delays in the classes, they can enter without seeking permission, because we don't want to distract the classes. So Sheikh Sadiq Hassan Khan comes from today's state known as Bhopal, and he used to work as servant in the palace of the Queen of Bhopal, and as a servant. And the Queen of Bhopal got really interested in him because of his character and his manners and all that. So she inquired who it is, and she learned that he's one of the most learned scholars of that era, of the Indian Peninsula actually, throughout the history of Indian Peninsula. And that he's working as a servant just to earn a living. So she decided to sent the proposal to him, and they got married. And after that, he became the second most powerful person of that state after the Queen, obviously, who was his wife. And then he devoted himself completely to studying Islam, and not studying Islam but serving Islam and writing books. He was the one who wrote the explanation of Bulugh al-Maram in Persian language, the first one to write in Persian language. And he has a tafsir also known as Fath al-Bayan in Quran, in Arabic language. He has written books in Usul al-Fiqh in Arabic, in Fiqh, in Hadith. I think he has worked on Sahih al-Bukhari also. He married twice. The first wife of his passed away, and then he was working as a servant or something, and that's when the Queen of Bhopal, offered to get married to him. So it's not always the men who serve Islam; it's also the women who have a lot of influence. To end with, Hilyat Talib al-Ilm is the book I'm teaching you right now, or explaining it to you. Sharh Hilyat Talib al-Ilm is by Ibn Uthaymeen, the teacher of the author Bakr Abu Zayd. We are learning this book, and this is the explanation of that book. And this is something you can go and look on that website. Muslim women who taught their husbands. In this, there are from India also Amatul Ghafoor bint Ishaq al-Dahlawi, and that is over here, a non-Arab from the 13th century. And do you know Imam al-Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi was also a Persian descent. He was not from, he was from al-Bukhara, Uzbekistan, not Persia, and he was born Arab. And the father of Arabic grammar, which is the father of an-Nahwu, is Sibawi. He happens to be a Persian also. So it's actually the non-Arabs who developed these sciences, and there's one scholar, I don't know if it is mentioned over here, when he used to have some trouble in some of the issues related to Islamic studies or something, he used to tell the students just wait, he used to go into his home, come back, and then give the answer. So the students used to say, yeah, Sheikh, we know that this answer is not from you, we know that this answer came from behind the curtain, which means you asked your wife the answer for this and you've come. I don't know if it is over here, but it is there. Like some of the scholars, it's written about him. The final one which I want to say is related to Quran. That's the reason I'm going to present it to you is, yeah, if it is there, inshallah, I'll present it to you. It should be there. What's happening? This one is not clear, but I'll read it for you. It is Abdurrahman ibn Abdullah al-Husayn. حفظ رحمه الله تعالى القرآن الكريم على يد زوجته المرأة الصالحة نشمية بنت عبد العزيز الرواه. وكان كثيرا التلاوة له ويقضي ليله ونهاره في العبادة وتلاوة القرآن الكريم وكان يختم القرآن في كل 4 ليالي. Abdurrahman ibn Abdullah al-Husayn is one of those scholars who passed away less than 100 years ago from today. He memorized Quran with the help of his wife, Nashmiya bint Abdul Aziz. And then after memorizing the Quran, he used to read it day and night, and he used to complete every 4 months. So he was not a Hafid, and he memorized it with the help of his wife. These were some things I wanted to show to you in the previous class. Moving on, the manners of the student in living a life of knowledge or leading a life of knowledge is high aspirations. We actually spoke about this with the passion, with the preparation, external preparation, internal preparation, and setting your niyyah or your intentions right. The burning desire, it is something not new for you right now. Immigrating for the sake of seeking knowledge, I don't have to talk about this because the students of Aspire are well aware of what it means. من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له طريقا إلى الجنة. Those who migrate and travel for the sake of seeking knowledge, Allah makes the path towards Jannah easy for them. It's a hadith. Do you want me to write it or are you aware of it? Should I write it? من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما. Are you aware of it? Or do you want me to write it? Write it? من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له طريقا إلى الجنة. من سلك طريقا يلتمس فيه علما سهل الله له طريقا إلى الجنة. This is C. It's written like that. The calligraphy students might know that. You write it straight and then you indicate that it's C. Not all the time you need to indicate it. I indicated it for you. Al-Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi, he traveled more than 11,000 kilometers by foot to Sorry?
They want you to increase the water.
Please go on there. This one? Is it on? Yeah, I think it should go on. Is it clear? Yes? Okay. Al-Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi traveled more than 11,000 kilometers to write Al-Bukhari. Similarly, Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi, similarly, any scholar, you'll see that a portion of their life is where they have migrated for a couple of kilometers, not a couple of kilometers, but some kilometers, like thousands, to preserve knowledge. The story of Yahya ibn Yahya al-Andalusi comes to mind. Yahya ibn Yahya al-Andalusi is known as the scholars of Andalus, or current-day Spain. He came all the way from Spain to Medina to study with Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi. And in Medina, in those days, camels, or even today, not camels, elephants are not a usual sight. So when Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi was giving the lecture, Yahya ibn Yahya was sitting, and there were many other students seeking knowledge. When the elephants came, everyone rushed to see the elephants, even the students of Imam Malik. Leaving Imam Malik, they went to see the elephant. The only one who remained was Yahya ibn Yahya al-Andalusi. Imam Malik said, "Ya Yahya, why don't you go?" Yahya ibn Yahya says, "I did not come from Andalus, I did not come from Spain all the way to Medina, traveling all these kilometers to see an elephant." So, when you have left your homes, or the students have left their homes, even those who left their homes, even if it's somewhere nearby, even that is considered in leaving your homes and coming, because that's a kind of sacrifice. Yeah, those who left their homes in states or countries and then come, that's a different level. But then everyone is included in the sacrifice to the extent that they are capable of. So don't let this sacrifice of yours go in vain by doing something that's not from the dignity of this sacrifice. Preserving knowledge through writing it. I told about how you should write it. There's one more thing you can do is acronyms, and we used to do it in studying medicine and all that. But then you can do it when I started studying Islamic studies. I always wondered how we organize study, or preserve the knowledge with acronyms, until I realized that there are many ways you can do. Was with the book. There were 3 companions who did not come, or did not participate. You're aware of it? Was with the book. No? Yeah, good. There are 3 companions. Anyone knows their name? Names? 3 companions. No one knows their name? Remember not? Ka'b ibn Malik, Hilal ibn Umayyah, Murarah ibn Rabi'. Remember not? Murarah ibn Rabi', Ka'b ibn Malik, Hilal ibn Umayyah. This is pronounced as ha when it's stopped, right? It's not the marbuta, pronounced as ha. Murarah ibn Rabi', Ka'b ibn Malik, Hilal ibn Umayyah. So there are many acronyms. When you look for that, or you try to devise your own acronyms, you can do it. But this is known, like everyone throughout the world in Islamic studies, the students of Islam will be aware of that, because it's a known acronym. It's not something invented by someone recently. Preserving knowledge through paying attention also, I spoke about it, like writing and preserving the knowledge by writing it, preserving the knowledge by paying attention to it. I told you how you should do it. Those who can combine between those two, I'm one of those, because I cannot focus without writing it down. But those who can just do it by paying attention, those who can do just by writing it, can do it. One of the students of Imam Shafi'i rahmatullahi alayhi, if I'm not wrong, his name should be Sulaiman. I forgot his name's not coming to my mind. He was the student of Imam Shafi'i. There are 3 students of Imam Shafi'i who got really famous, and one of these students of Imam Shafi'i rahmatullahi alayhi was, there were 3 students, like all these scholars I told you when we were, I don't have to write it. I told about Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi, I put 2 arrows, and I told you Abu Yusuf, I told you Muhammad ibn Hassan. There is one more. Dhufar. 3 students are famous by Abu Hanifa. Then you go to Imam Malik, like Shafi'i, one of his students, Yahya ibn Yahya, one of his students. And Yahya ibn Yahya, this same Yahya ibn Yahya, his narration of Al-Muwatta is considered one of the most authentic, or the most authentic. The most authentic narration is of Yahya ibn Yahya, the one who sacrificed one singing elephant to preserve the knowledge of study knowledge. Because I think he was the last one to study from Imam Malik, that's the reason he got to make up for the mistake or any errors or something present in Muwatta by the last revision or last hearing. I don't remember exactly the reason, but this is considered the most authentic one. The story I want to tell you about Shafi'i is that he also had some students who got really famous. One of them was so weak in understanding the knowledge that Shafi'i used to teach. There were 2 others. Al-Muzani was there, who was really profound in understanding what Shafi'i used to teach. But Sulaiman ibn Dawood, if I'm not wrong, I don't remember the exact name of his, but anyways, you can look into that. His student, Imam al-Shafi'i, told him that if I could feed you the knowledge with the spoon, I would have done it. Which means that the teacher was not giving up on the weak student he had. And you know what happened to that student? After al-Shafi'i passed away, and after some of the books of al-Shafi'i went missing, this was the student, with his memory, he brought them back again, because he used to memorize those books, even though he had some difficulty in understanding it. So everyone should know their skills. Some of them are fuqaha because they understand the rulings and all, derivation and all that. Some of them become muhaddith because they understand hadith better. Some of them become mufassir because of their skills in Quran. Similarly, if this student of Shafi'i was not there, a lot of books of Shafi'i would have gone missing. Occasional revision of the knowledge. There are many ways of revising knowledge. And everyone has their own ways. I'm not going to talk about the methods the author has spoken in this, because it depends on every student how they memorize or how they keep it in mind. But memorization of the Quran is by repetition. The most difficult book to revise is Quran, because the book of fiqh or the book of hadith or al-lugha or something, the moment you take it, you memorize it, or the things you have to memorize, and you leave out what you don't have to memorize, and you just understand it, enough for you. You're not going to forget it anytime soon. But Quran, the miracle of Quran is no matter how much profoundly you have memorized Quran, there's some way or some point in your life you're going to make up, some mess up is going to happen, some error is going to happen. This is the reason it is said about some of the known imams of the Quran in the masajid and all that around the world, that they made mistakes in Surah Al-Fatiha. It's not that they did not memorize it properly, it's that the miracle of Quran, that sometimes, somewhere, unexpectedly, some mistake is going to happen, some forgetting is going to happen. So Quran is the most difficult one. So anyone who's memorized any portion of Quran, keep revising it. The best example of Quran is that you hold a page in your hand. The moment you leave it, it's going to fly off. The moment you leave it. So you have to keep on memorizing it. So a hafiz is not a hafiz just because he's memorized Quran, but a hafiz if he keeps revising Quran. I've met some students from Africa. They don't consider anyone who has memorized Quran and completed it as a hafiz. They say he's a beginner, because their culture is that every single person in the family or in the community is a hafiz. Some communities, memorizing Quran over here in our cultures is a big achievement, but for them it's normal. So for them to be considered a hafiz, you have to memorize, and then you have to revise, and then you come to a level where you know which word of that surah, of that portion is in which, on which side, in which line, and all that. So they have levels: a beginner hafiz, an intermediate hafiz, an advanced hafiz, and so on. So I remember one of my colleagues, I asked him, how many times did you revise Quran after you had memorized it, to get the ijazah from your Shaykh, and he told me I revised Quran 300 times. And that same colleague of mine in the university's program, every morning we were supposed to revise Quran. If the Hufaz, every morning the Hufaz have to revise Quran about 5 juz. No one is going to do less than 5 juz every morning. And I used to see the same colleague of mine who would memorize Quran and then revise it 300 times, sitting and revising it. Not just that, but if you remember Muhammad Ayyub, rahimahullah, the Imam of Masjid al-Nabawi, Sheikh Ali al-Badayfi, the current Imam of Masjid al-Nabawi, hafidhahullah, there is a photo of them on the internet. They are revising Quran, and he's looking like this, and one of them is reading the Quran. So that's the because I saw the word of Quran over here, I thought to speak about it. To gain the understanding of Quran by deriving the issues of fiqh and then applying the principles. It means that first you understand from your Shaykh and then you practice it. Like for example, in fiqh, we have there. In fiqh, we have learned that you raise your hand like this, or you raise your hand like this, or you raise your hand like this in the middle of both the earlobe and the shoulder, and then you place it like this, or you place it like this, or like this, right? If you just keep it as a theory or you're going to remember it, you have to practice it. So sometimes raise your hands like this, sometimes raise it like this, sometimes raise it like this, keep it sometimes like this, or like this. Practice helps you in remembering. And then comes teaching. If you want to know how much you've understood, go and teach it to someone else. And the more you try to teach them, or the more you prepare before you address them, the more you're going to get a clear understanding for your own self. That's when I started loving teaching. Otherwise, I used to hate teaching because some of my teachers were really brutal. So, not in Islamic studies, honestly. It's before Islamic studies. Seek refuge in Allah. Obviously, you know the example of Abdullah bin Qasim, what happened to him. Qasim, what happened to him. Abdullah al-Qasimi, what happened to him. Seek refuge from Allah the Almighty. Honesty in knowledge, obviously. The knowledge you have, speak to the limit you know. When you don't know, la adri. There was a man who came all the way from Andalus, from Spain, and he met Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala. He came with about 40 to 60 questions, and majority of the questions remain except like 6 to 7 questions. If I'm not wrong the numbers, Imam Malik said to all the questions, La adri, I don't know. And the man said, I've come all the way from that place, and the people have sent me as a representative to ask you the answers. And what do I tell them when you say La adri? He said, قُلْ لَهُمْ أَنَّ مَالِكًا قَالَ لَا أَدْرِي. Tell them that Malik has said, I don't know. And some of the scholars have said, La adri nisf al-ilm. Saying, I don't know is half of knowledge. The moment you accept that you have a flaw and shortcoming, that's when you're going to learn more. But if you don't accept, then you're not going to learn. That's the reason in some of the debates, Imam al-Shafi'i, that profound scholar, used to say that if I debate with a foolish, I'm going to lose. But if I debate with a sensible person, I'm going to win. Why? Because the sensible person knows his limits, so he's going to rectify if he has an issue. But the foolish person is going to get egoistic and is not going to learn. That's the reason in English also the quotes and proverbs you might have learned or you might have heard that the person who is not ready to accept, you cannot correct him. Or the person who is not willing, you cannot correct him. Something like that. So you should have honesty. Not that you're representing Islam, it means that you should speak about every single thing even if you don't have any understanding or any knowledge about it. Just say, I don't know. Truthfulness, obviously it came in that, I spoke about it. The sanctuary of seeking knowledge, the sanctuary of seeking knowledge is I don't know. I spoke about this. Preserving a capital, which is a lifetime. Obviously if the capital is destroyed, like in stock markets and investment and all, if the capital is destroyed, there's no way you're going to get profit. So utilize your life, only then you're going to get something in return. If you don't have time, if you don't have proper use of your time, you're not going to get anything in return. So the more time you invest, the more you're going to get back in profit. Even in businesses, you see, the more time you give to build your business, the more better your business is going to be, and the more profit you're going to get back. So you don't put time in it, you don't invest time in it, you're not going to get back anything. The same is in this business of akhirah, the trade of akhirah. Tijaratul akhirah. Relaxing the body, obviously. Relaxing the body. This is why Salman Al-Farisi radiyallahu anhu, when he went to Abu Dharr radiyallahu anhu, and he saw Abu Dharr standing in day, he's fasting, at night he's standing in prayers. His wife is poor, at least, shabby. She's not groomed properly, and she has, indications of sadness on her face and all that. Salman Al-Farisi inquired, and she says, your brother, which is Abu Dharr, does not give me my right. He does not care about family. All he worries is about akhirah. Salman Al-Farisi took it to himself to correct Abu Dharr. So one night when Abu Dharr stood to pray, Salman Al-Farisi told him, sleep. He stood again, sleep, until it was the last third of night when Salman said, yeah, now you can pray. Abu Dharr got really angry. He went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and said, Ya Rasulullah, Salman came to my home, he was a guest, and he was doing like this, stopping me from worship. Salman Al-Farisi says the reason, and that's when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Inna li badanika alayka haqq, and that long hadith, that your whole body has a right upon you, your eye has a right upon you, your wife has a right upon you, your family has a right upon you, and so on. I seek reward for my sleep as I do when I'm awake, and the reason is innamal a'malu binniyat. You sleep, you're going to get rewarded if your intention is good. You eat, you're going to get rewarded even if you go and roam out with your friends. Even then you're going to get rewarded, because if your intention is to get relaxed so that you can come up with more energy to help yourself or to study properly. Precision and correction reading, which is like you should read with the Sheikh. Obviously we've spoken about it in detail. Summarizing long compilation book, so when you have long books, instead of reading it all the time, you have to read them and take up notes of the important topics. You might feel that is important. It's something general. I think you might know about it. Excellence in asking questions is manners in asking questions. The way you ask your question, the way you present your question, and when you ask a question, and when you see clarity, and we spoke about it. That's the reason, inshallah, I'll try to show it to you tomorrow. Is in Arabic lectures or talks, when they present the questions, they're like, Ahsanallahu ilaykum Shaykhana al-Fadil, or Fadilat al-Shaykh, Ahsanallahu ilaykum, and something similar to that, which is, may Allah protect you, ya Shaykh, may Allah benefit the Ummah with you. And then they start asking questions. Debating without argumentation, discussion is something, argumentation is different. Revision in knowledge in groups, general. It does not mean everything that's there in this book is to be practiced 100% like that. No, because I personally, I agree with myself, I do not revise in groups. I cannot revise in groups. If someone comes to me individually, or a group sits in front of me, I'll help everyone. But if you tell me to sit as a participant of the group, and you tell me to participate in everything that everyone is teaching, I cannot do it. That's my shortcoming. So I'm like, one person, I'll be able to help everyone, or if I have a doubt, I'll get it clear. But sit like I am there, Abdullah is there, Abdul Rahman is there, and 5 other brothers are there. I say something, then continuation is by Abdullah, and then continuation is by someone else. That's my shortcoming, I cannot do it. So it's not 100% you do it that way. The seeker of knowledge lives between the text of Quran and Sunnah and knowledge associated to them. It's like he lives according to Quran and Sunnah. كان خلقه القرآن. When Aisha radiallahu anha was asked about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, how was his character, she said كان خلقه القرآن. Completion of learning the tools of every subject. Like I told you, every subject has a way it should be learned and understood. So you should know that, and when you know it, that subject is going to be really easy for you. This book is actually available in the form of PDF on the internet. So anyone is noting down these bullet points, I don't recommend that because it's just wasting your time. But yeah, something extra is not there over here, then yeah. It reminds me right now that there was a point about preserving your masculinity or something. I told you it's not for men. It's for the men, and for the women it's different. The reason is that's a style of writing the book. Arabic books are not written to address a specific gender. It's written to, give a clarity of a point or something. So even in the Quran, you see the address is actually masculine. It's not about gender base. It's the style of Arabic that is written in that way. So that's the reason he said preserving or taking care of your masculinity or something in one of the lectures. I told you for the women it should be preserving your feminism or feminine nature or something. So yeah, the clarity is that the books are written in that way, and this is linguistic translation. Completion of the learning of the tools. Yeah, with that we have finished the lecture, and inshallah tomorrow we'll be ending the book. The plan was to complete it today, but then we'll carry on in the next class. Jazakallah khair. If you have anything you can ask me, and then I'll leave. Assalamu alaikum.